हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिम्। यः पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम्। गोष्पतीकृतवारासिं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायण महामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम्। अंजनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वाधात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। उल्लङ्घसिन्धो सलिलं सलीलं यशोकभग्निं जनकात्मजायाः आधाय तेनैव ददाकलङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम्। आञ्जनेयमदिपाटलालनं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततलुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भाष्पवादिपरिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं ममतराक्षसान्तकम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंषि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेदसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मनः। तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनधार्तवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसस्त्वतं निशामयध्वम्। श्रीराघवं दशरथात्मजम् अप्रमेयम् सीतापतिं रघुकुलान्वयरत्नदीपम् आजानुबाहमरविन्ददलायधाक्षं रामं निशाचरविनाशकरं नमामि। वैदेही सहितं सुरतृमदले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम्। अग्रे वाजयति प्रपञ्चनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं व्याख्यान्तं भरदादिपरिविदं रामं भजे श्यामलम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चातदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाच इमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत् अखिल शक्तिधर स्वधाम्ना अन्यां हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। पान्त्वस्मान् पुरुहूत वैरिबलवन्मातङ्गमाद्यद्घटा कुम्भोच्चात्रिविपाटनाति कपटु प्रत्येक वज्रायिताः श्रीमत्कण्ठीरवास्य प्रतसुनकराद्धारिदाराति दूरप्रध्वस्तत्वान्तशान्तप्रवतितमनसा भाविता भूरि भागैः। Hare Krishna, Namaskaram to all of you, and we welcome you once again for this Sri Valmiki Ramayana Mahakavya Pravachanam. This is the third day of our session, and during our last two sessions, we have discussed how Ramayana is an Upabhramana of Vedas. Ramayana is not ordinary literature or itihasa or a story about a great personality like a Kavya. Rather, it is an explanation for Veda Vedanta. This we have seen last week. And also we have seen the qualification of the speaker, of the guru, and the qualification of the hearer, the shishya. So these two things we have discussed in last two sessions. And in last session, we have stopped with a question that if Valmiki has seen Lord Rama, Lakshmana and Sita while they were going for the exile for the forest, then why did he make such a questions or queries about Lord Rama or about a supreme person who has all these good qualities? So that was the question that we were dealing last week. And today we will continue with this, and hopefully we will go through 3 chapters today. So in the first chapter itself, Valmiki has given us the summary of entire Ramayana in 100 shlokas. Exactly to say in 97 shlokas, he has given us a summary view of whole Ramayana. And from second chapter, he starts explaining how Ramayana flow goes. So Lord Narada or Narada Bhagavan was approached by Valmiki Rishi in the mood of paripracha, in the mood of very humble attitude, and also at the same time paripracha, proper questions. It is not enough you have humble attitude, but you should have a proper questions also to ask. So in a similar way, here Valmiki Rishi approaches Narada and he is asking, Konvasmin tapratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmajnascha kritajnascha satyavakyo dridhavrataha charitrena cha ko yuktaha sarvabhuteshu ko hitaha vidvan kaha samartascha kaschaika priyadarshanaha atmavan ko jidakrodo dutiman ko anusuyakaha kasya bhivedi devascha dhata roshasta samyuge. This is the question asked by Valmiki Rishi. And we have seen last week itself what are the qualities that he is asking about. So he is asking Kon Vasmin Sampratam Loke. So here the word Loke means not only this world, it means in the world of literature, in the world of scripture, in the world of Shabda Brahman, in the world of Upanishad. Who is that supreme person who is the owner of all the mentioned qualities? Because Vedas, they mention different qualities of that Parabrahma, but it doesn't mention names. So in Purusha Shukta also, where the Purusha is established, even in that Purusha Shukta, it is not directly given the name of the Lord or the Supreme Person. It just says, Hrishchate Lakshmishcha Patnyo. It just says, Hrishchate Lakshmishcha Patnyo. He is the husband of Lakshmi. That's it. It just speaks indirectly, not directly. So to make it clear, to establish the Supreme Person's position, Valmiki is asking this question in the beginning of Ramayana. So Ramayana is clearly speaking about that Supreme Person who has all the qualities, and this Ramayana is going to deal with all those qualities which are mentioned in the Vedic literature. That's why Ramayana has both Dharma and Swarupa Lakshana of Lord. Rama is doing both Loka Dharma and Swarupa Dharma. He is establishing both the Dharma. By means of his activities, he is establishing Loka Dharma, and by means of his superior qualities, unlimited qualities, he is establishing his Swarupa Dharma, that is Saranagata Vatsalatvam. He is the Vatsala, he is very dear to the surrendered soul. So this is the Swarupa Lakshana of the Lord. So that's why Rama here, Valmiki is asking this question, not to understand who is here in this world with such a quality, because we can never find a person, an ordinary human being with such a kind of unlimited qualities. So the question itself has indirect in meaning, and the answer goes even more further indirectly, because if you read the answers which are given by Lord Narada, then you can understand clearly he is not speaking about this, he's not speaking about a mortal human being who belongs to this world. He is speaking about that Supreme Lord who belongs to this world. So Narada has been asked our question. Now Narada is asking, now Narada is giving answer. Ikshvagvamso prabhavo Rama nama janashrutah niyatatma mahaviryo dhyutiman dhrutiman vashi. Oh Valmiki, you don't know the qualities which you have queried. Those qualities exist in one person in this world. Not only those qualities, I can even speak about more qualities of that person. I can go on speaking unlimitedly, about that person, but it is not enough. I can speak, you can speak, and in the whole world, everybody can speak about the qualities of that person, but still his quality remains more than what we have described. So that is the quality of that person. He has unlimited kalyana gunatvam, paripurnatvam. So I'm going to speak about that person. That person, he has appeared in Ikshvagu Vamsha. Ikshvagu Vamsa Prabhavo Rama. His name is Rama. Rama Nama Janashrutaha. And what are his qualities? I'm going to explain some of his qualities. Please listen carefully. Don't speculate, because by speculation you can never understand his qualities. So that's what here Narada is saying. Ito vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. So even Vedas, they cannot describe Lord qualities fully, but still I will try to describe few of those qualities. So starting from this shloka, Narada Bhagavan is explaining in 11 shlokas. In 11 continuous shloka, he is describing more qualities of Lord Rama. We will go one by one. Ito vacho nivartante aprapya manasadha anandam brahmano vidvan na bhibedi kudaschana. This is what Veda Vakya says. So that Lord cannot be described by words or by our mind. Anandam brahmano vidvan. Just know that Lord is anandamaya anandamayo abhyasat. So this is the conclusion of the Vedas. Lord is full of ananda. Now by means of Ramayana, we are going to understand more about the qualities of that Parabrahma. Niyata Atma, the first quality is saying Niyata Atma Mahabhiro Dhyutiman Dhrutiman Vasihi. What is Niyata Atma? In the first word itself, or in the first name itself, he is establishing that this Lord whose nature doesn't change, Niyata Atma, who never changes his nature, whether he appears as a Kurma, Maksha, Varaha, or Narasimha, or Lord Rama, or even Krishna, his nature doesn't change. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he doesn't come down from his position. He is not like us. He is not bewildered by three modes of material nature. This we have seen in Kunti Maharani Stotra, that Lord is the owner of all the Achintya Shaktis, but he is not bewildered by his own Shakti. How is it possible? Like a magician is doing magic, and when the magician is doing magic, all the people who are, viewers, they get astonished. Oh, such a magic! But the magician, he knows it's a magic. It is his trick. So he is not going to get bewildered by his own trick. So in the similar way, Lord is not bewildered by his own energy. He is the controller. He is a niyata of his own energy. Mamaivam maya dhakshena prakriti. Krishna says, under my supervision, all my energies are acting. So he called niyata atma. He never comes under any influence of material nature, but his nature also doesn't change. Niyata atma mahaviryo. Mahaviryo means he has supreme strength. Parasya shakti vivideya uchuyate swabhaviki jnana bhala kriyacha. Svetasatara Upanishad again establishes Lord has unlimited qualities, unlimited energies. Parasya shakti vividhaiva suyate swabhaliki jnana bhala kriyacha. But it can be divided into three main categories. That is jnana bhala kriya. So these three qualities are the main qualities of Lord, the Supreme Lord. So Mahaviryo and Dhyutiman. Dhyutiman means he's always self-illuminating, self-revealing, self-manifesting. Lord doesn't need anyone to reveal. Lord has to reveal himself. So that's what Upanishad also again says. Nayamatma pravachanena na labhyaha na medaya na bhuta shrutena. So when he is pleased, then Lord appears by his own will. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevan mukhehi jigvado swayam eva spuratyataha. Rupa Goswami says that Supreme Lord cannot be approached or cannot be upheld or understood by our senses and by our mind. How can you understand Lord? Sevan mukehi jigvado swayam meva spuratyatah. Unless he reveals himself, nobody can understand. So what is the qualification so that Lord will reveal to us by means of service? When he is pleased with our service, and Lord reveals himself to us. So he's called Dyutiman. He doesn't need anything else to be illuminated or to be explained. He is self-illuminating, self-manifesting. That's why Vijnana Ghana, Pragyana Ghana, he is described or he is glorified as Vijnana Ghana and Pragyana Ghana. And Dhritiman means he is always blissful. Anando Brahma, just now we have seen. Lord is completely blissful. He doesn't need anything. He is doing everything for Ananda. Even this creation, maintenance, destruction, such a miraculous task, such a huge task, but he is doing very happily. If he is not getting happiness, he will never do all this kind of job. He is doing just completely out of Ananda. So he is called Dhritiman. And Vashi. Vashi means he keeps everything under his control. Sarvasya Vashi, Sarvasya Ishanaha. Even Isha Upanishad starts with like that. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Idam Sarvam. Idam Sarvam means Idam means this. So whatever you can point out as this all belongs to Lord, and these are all controlled by Lord. Ishaha. Isha means Idyate iti Ishaha. One who controls everything is called Isha. So it's called Vashi. And it said, why he has taken birth in Ikshvaku Kula? Why not in other Kula? Because there were so many devotees. Why Lord has appeared in Ikshvaku Kula? Then we know that Ikshvaku Vamsha, in Ikshvaku Vamsha, Ikshvaku was a great devotee of Lord, and he worshipped Lord Brahma directly. And he got Sri Ranganatha deity. So just to worship that Sri Ranganatha deity, or just to see his own form, Lord appeared in this Kula. So this is one of the main quality of Lord appearing in Ikshvakula. That's why Srirangam is in Sri Ranganatha. In Srirangam, that Sri Ranganatha was personally worshipped by Lord Rama himself. This was the Kula Daiva or Kula Dhana of the Ikshvaku Vamsha, of this Raghu Vamsha or Dasharatha Vamsha. So this is some of the qualities, and it goes on. Narada goes on speaking. Buddhiman, Nitiman, Vagmi, Shriman, Shadru Nirbanaha, Viplavamso Mahabahu, Kambu, Grivo, Mahu, Hanuhu. He says Buddhiman. Buddhiman means omniscient. Sarvagyaha, Sarvavit. He is Sarvagya. He knows everything. To the extent when he starts creating this universe, he starts meditating about this universe, how the creation should be. And his omniscience is like this. He starts meditating, and in his meditation he sees everything, start from creation to the end of that creation. He knows everything, each and every detail of each and every soul, and each and every day activity, everything he knows. He just remembers everything, he just contemplates everything, and then starts creating. So that is his omniscience. He is not, oh, it happened, oh, okay, maybe I remember this, it will happen. Not like that. When the beginning of creation itself, he knows everything. For example, how he is going to appear from Hiranyakashipu's pillar, from which pillar he is going to appear, he knows all this detail from the time of creation itself. So that is his omniscience. Buddhiman, Nitiman. So it may be amazing for us. That is why it is amazing. If we can understand the cognitions or omnipotency or omniscient of Lord, then he is not omniscient. He becomes the subject matter of our intelligence. He is beyond our intelligence. He is beyond our imagination even. So that's why the Lord's omniscience cannot be even imagined. This is just a small example I have given, but Lord knows each and every detail of this universe, not only this universe, and this is nothing for him. He says, Ekam Shena Stito Jagat. Arjuna, all these details, all this universe, they're just one single fraction of my energy, Arjuna. What to speak of my full energy, even I don't understand. So that is his omniscience. And Nitiman means he's always, civilized behavior. He is always having this civilized behavior. So Rig Veda says, Dada yada purvam akalpayet. Civilized behavior means this Rig Veda is taking too far stretched. I don't know how to explain, but Rig Veda says, like Lord has created as it was before the creation. I'll just give you an example. In Rig Veda, it mentions the cow means it has all this character. In Rig Veda, it is mentioned. So when you are creating, the Lord again he take reference from the Vedas and he creates as it is. Why? Because Vedas are eternal, and when the Lord is obeying the instructions or the details of the Vedas, he can just create as he wishes. He can just create because he is the creator and he has all rights to create as he wishes. Like in Purva Pralaya, before Pralaya, in Purva Srishti, he has created cow which looks like a tiger. And in this creation, in this universe, in this millennium, now he is creating cow in a different way. He can do that, but he doesn't do that. Why? Because in Vedas there is a particular mention of the character of the cow. So Lord, he consults the Vedas, or even Brahma, he consults the Vedas and he creating according to the Veda. So this is called civilized behavior. Means he is abiding himself the laws which he has given in the Vedas. Otherwise, when you are reading Veda, it says a cow means it has flap here and it is very Shanta Swarupa and gives milk. And you see now the cow, what you call is like a tiger, and you cannot go nearby. So it becomes redundant, it contradicts the instructions of the Vedas. So Lord himself follows all the instructions of the Vedas. That's why he is called Nidhiman. He abides according to the Vedas. So acharyas are taking too much they're stretching this word too much to show the complete purnatva of all these gunas. He's not just some 100%, Nidhiman. He's perfect Nidhiman, not even 100%. He's more than that. He's a Nidhiman. And Vagmi. Vagmi means one who knows how to speak. This is called Vagmi. So one who knows how to speak very pleasingly. So in this world, the Purushartha are considered four things: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are four Purushartha for human beings. And to achieve this, Vedas, they give instruction. So whomever is teaching us Vedas, they are called Vagmi, because they are benefiting us. By means of speaking Vedas, they are helping us to get this four Purushartha, or four goals of human life. That is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So one who speaks Vedas are the real Vagmis, one who knows to speak nicely. Other people, they can blubber in the name of sweet speeches, but what is the use? Ultimately we cannot achieve anything. So Lord is called real Vagmi. Why? Because he always speaks from Veda. He is the one who preaches the Veda. If you see in Ramayana, you will understand all these things. Now you will just understand few of the qualities. When I speak in Ramayana, when we discuss Ramayana, then you are going to speak, you are going to say what are these qualities which we are mentioning here. Brahmanam vidati purvam yovai vedamscha pranihitoti tasmai. So Lord, in the form of Brahmanas, he is teaching Vedas, he is spreading Vedas, he is preaching Vedas. That's why Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Krishna is the Lord of Brahmanas. Why? Because they are the one who is protecting the Vedas, and by means of protecting the Vedas, this world exists. If there is no Veda, no Vedic knowledge, then this world doesn't exist. This world is existing because of Vedic knowledge. So this is called Vagmi. And Shriman. Shriman means he has both, he is the owner of both spiritual and material world. Ekapata Vibhuti and Tripada Vibhuti. He is the owner of everything. Krishna also says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. I am the owner of everything. So that is called Shriman. And Shatru Nirbanaha. He destroys, whomever is opposing to the Shastric rules. whomever is not following the Shastric rules, he just destroys them. Destroys them means he again puts them back into the proper position. So this is what here he says. And now after describing some of his qualities, now Narada has entered inside the Swarupa of Lord Rama. He is now starting to describe the beautiful form of Lord. For next 2.5 shlokas, he is saying, Vipulamsho Mahabahu Kambu Grivo Mahahanuhu. Vipulamshaha. This is from Aditya Vidya. In Aditya Vidya, from a Upanishad, where we can find the Samudrika Lakshana of a person, of a great person. By means of the Samudrika Lakshana, we can understand this is a great person and Mahapurusha. So this is from Aditya Vidya. Now Narada is speaking. He is having Vipulamsha, Mahabahu, Kambu Griva, Mahahanuhu. So what are those things? Vipulamsha means he has elevated shoulders, not very, shrunken shoulders. And he has Mahabahu. His hands are very stout, very round and very muscular. And Kambu Grivaha, his neck is like a conch. When he is doing like this, there are 3 lines in his neck. So his neck is like Kambu Griva, like a conch. And Mahahanuhu, he has a very big jaws, a very big mouth also. And next he is going on speaking. Maharaksho Mahavesho Ghuda Jatur Anirdamaha Ajanubahu Shira Sushirno Sulato Suvikramaha Maha-Urukshaha means he has broad chest, not very short and chest. He has broad chest. And Ishvasaha, he is a great archer. He knows how to deal with bows and arrows. And Guda Jatruhu means these collarbones are invisible. Some people you can see these collarbones are visible. That means they are very poor, very inauspicious to see. At least when you are grahastha, when you are like a king, you should have this kind of Samudrika Lakshana. So here Guda Shatruhu means collarbones are invisible. And Harindamaha means he is always victorious over his enemies. And Ajanu Bahuhu means his hands extend till his knees. And Sushiraha, well-formed face, his face is round like face. And Sulalataha, his forehead is very beautiful. And Suvikramaha means he walks very beautifully. That's why in Sri Ranga, if you go, there are different kinds of gati. They say Gajagati, Simhagati, and Sarpagati, and Ajagati, Rishabhagati. There are so many different kinds of gati. Gati means his walking style. When we will see this in Balakanda itself, when Lord Rama is walking in the Mithilapuri, how he is walking, his style. When he is walking in the street, he walks differently. When he enters inside the Sabha, Mandapa, he walks differently. When he enters inside the temple or respectful people, he walks differently. When he is entering inside the fighting arena, he walks differently. So there are different kinds of gati. By means of his walk itself, we can understand for what he is going, or from his walk itself, we can understand his mood. So that is why he called Suvikramaha. So these are some of the qualities which Narada Bhagavan is mentioning, because Ramayana is full of Lord's qualities. So it is very necessary for us to understand. Samasama Vibhaktango Snigdha Varna Pradapavan Pina Vaksha Visalaksho Lakshmi Van Subhalakshanaha. It is said Samasama Vibhaktangaha. Samasama Vibhaktangaha means his hands, his legs are all well formed. Not that hand is so long and legs are so short. Some people may have like that, but his hands and his legs are very well formed and equally sized. And Snigdha Varnaha means very pleasing form. They have mentioned in other places that he is like a green in color, very light in green in color. So he's called Snigdha Varnaha. And it says Pradapavan Pina Vakshaha means his chest is very fleshy, not very bony chesty. He has a bony chest. His chest is very fleshy. And then it says Pina Vaksho Vishalakshaha. Vishalakshaha means his eyes are very long, like that of a fish. And Lakshmivan Subhalakshanaha. How many I can explain? He is Lakshmivan. He has all the auspicious qualities and he is called Subhalakshanaha. He has all the auspicious indications in his or Samudrika Lakshana in his body. Next, now he is going to speak about his qualities of protecting the devotees. He's saying, Dharmagya Satma Sandhascha Prajanam Chahite Rataha Yashashvi Jnana Sampanna Sutir Vasha Samadhinam Prajapati Samashriman Dhata Ripunishudanaha. It says Dharmagyaha. Dharmagyaha means he knows what is dharma, knows what is his duty, and Satya Sandhascha, he knows what is proper truth, because whatever he promises, he follows. That is one of the main theme of Lord Rama here. That is, he follows his Satya Sandha, his Satya Vakya. And Prajanam cha hidayataha. He is always thinking about the beneficial of all the people. And he says, Yashashvi, he is always very famous. Jnana Sampannaha, he is full of knowledge. And Suchihi means he is very clean. What is cleanliness? Cleanliness means straightforward dealing. He is not beating around the bush. Whatever he feels, it is correct from Shastra, he just speaks. He never speaks, not keeping something in his heart and speaking something else. That is called Suchi. Real cleanliness means straightforward. That is the quality of a Brahmana. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says, this is the quality of a Vaishnava. Saralata. Saralata means very clean in heart, means very simplicity. That is called Suchihi. And Vashyaha. Vashyaha means he is always dependent on his devotees. When Lord Rama, when he was fighting, he says, just all these devotees, let them chant my name, and by hearing this glories, I will just go and fight. Otherwise, I have no strength to fight. When these devotees, when they chant, Jayat Tadibalo Ramaha, Lakshmanascha Mahabalaha, Raja Shugrivaha, Raghave Nama Balitaha, when they were chanting like this kind of stotras with full energy, Rama becomes more happy. That is called Vashyaha. Vashyaha means he is always dependent on his devotees. And Samadhinam Prajapatihi. In protecting the devotees, he is protecting his universe. He is like a Prajapati. And Samashriman Data Ripu Sudanaha. And he is nourishing his devotees, and whatever obstacles comes in the way of devotees, he just destroys all the obstacles of the devotees obstacles. And then he goes on speaking. Rakshita jiva lokasya dharmasya parirakshita rakshita swasya dharmasya swajanasya tarakshita. He is the protector of all. He is the protector of Vedic dharma, and he is the protector of his own duties, and he is the protector of the devotee's duty also. If I go on explaining all this, each and every nama, then it becomes like a Vishnu Sahasranama. We will not do that. This we will do in Vishnu Sahasranama. Just I will go on giving you translation. Then when we enter inside Ramayana, we will understand each and every qualities by means of his charitra. Veda Vedhanga Tadvagnya Dhanur Vedo Chanishtitah Sarvashastrartha Tadvagnya Smritiman Pratibhavanan Veda Vedhanga. He knows Vedas and he knows Vedanga. Vedanga, what are Vedangas? We have Shiksha, Nirukti, Vyakarana, Jyotisha, Chandas, and Kalpa. These are called Vedangas. So he knows all the Veda and Vedanga. And Dhanur Veda. He knows Dhanur Veda, the art of archery. And Sarva Shastra Artha Tatvagyaha. And he knows Upaveda also. That is Ayurveda and Gandhara Veda and Artha Shastra. So these are called Upaveda. He knows all these things. And he has Smritiman. Smritiman means his memory never fails. He always remembers. And Pratibhanavan. Pratibhanavan means he is very brilliant. So these are all some of the qualities. And he goes on saying, Sarvaloka Priya Sadhur Adinatma Vichakshanaha Sarvadivigata Sadbhi Samudra Iva Sindhubihi. Sarvaloka Priyaha. Sarvaloka Priyaha means he is very dear to all. When we are explaining all these qualities, some people may think, oh, he has so many good qualities. Maybe, we cannot approach him. No. He says, Sarvaloka Priyaha. Even though he has all these great qualities. His main quality is very simplicity and very easily approachable. That is the main quality of Lord Rama. He is very easily approachable even to a hunter, to a hunter in the forest like a guha. So he is dear to all. Sarvaloka Priyaha, Sadhur, even sadhus. When you see Lord Rama, he is always surrounded by sadhus, always surrounded by sages. When not during when he was a king, even when he was very small, very young age, he's always surrounded by rishis. And when after even after marriage, all the time some sadhus they come and ask him questions, and he is speaking about dharma and artha. He is discussing all the time about dharma sukshma with the sadhus. And also when he went to forest, and after coming from the forest when he was a king, all the time he is surrounded by devotees. Adhinatma vichakshanaha and sarvadha abhigataha. Sarvadha abhigata means he is not helpless. He is always helped by so many people. And samudra iva sindhubihi. He can speak any subject. It is not that he can only speak from this subject. He is expert in all kinds of subject. And again he says, even though he has all these qualities, how he looks like samudra iva sindhubihi. Samudra iva sindhubihi means there are many meanings here. Like Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita when he is explaining about the quality of Siddhapragya. He says, even though all the rivers they come and merge inside the ocean, ocean stays still. Rivers they come to the ocean, not ocean goes to river. And also when river comes, ocean cannot stop. So there are three different ways of explaining these things, and we have discussed all this thing in Bhagavad Gita itself. I'm not going to discuss, but here it is said Samudra iva sindhubihi means he is approached by everyone, like common people, sages, rishis, demigods. Even though everyone approaches him, how he is staying? He is saying, Aham veti mahatmanam. Vishwamitra, he comes and says, Aham veti mahatmanam. I know who are you. You are a supreme person. He says, no, I am manushim tanum ashritam. I am just a human being. I'm not a demigod. I'm not a devata. So Rama, he is very easily accessible. He is saulabhya. This is the main quality of Lord Rama. He is very easily accessible. So these are some of the qualities of Lord Rama mentioned, and then he goes on saying, Arya sarva samaschaiva sadaika priyadarshanaha sata sarva gunopeto kausalyanandavardhanaha. He says, Aryaha means he's equal to everyone. It's not that he is only approachable by very civilized people. Even Guha approached him. Even the bird approached him. Even Kakasura approached him. He is equal to everyone. He is giving mercy to everyone. So he is called Sarva Samaha Chaiva Sadaika Priyadarshanaha. It's very interesting word, interesting way of speaking. He is Priyadarshanaha. He is very pleasing to see. And how? Priyadarshanaha Sada Priyadarshanaha. Okay, I have seen him once. He is very nice. No. Whenever I see him, he is very pleasing. It is not that one time I see him and next time he is getting bored. No. Sada Priyadarshanaha. And then he says, Sadaika Priyadarshanaha. Sada Eka Priyadarshanaha. What is a problem here means when you understand, when you see Lord Rama's beauty, when you have absorbed yourself in Lord Rama's beauty, then nothing remains beautiful to you. You don't like to see anything. That is called Sadaika Priyadarshana. After seeing Lord Rama's beauty, or after being absorbed in Lord Rama's beauty, then nothing remains beautiful to you. That is called Sadaika Priyadarshana. Darshana Priyaha. And then it goes on saying, how much I can say? Sacha Sarva Gunopetaha. Like this, he has unlimited qualities. You can ask, when you ask any Rama Bhakta or any Vaishnavas, whether your Lord Rama has this good quality, just closing your eyes, you can say, yes, my Lord Rama has this good quality. And then when you are reading Ramayana, you will find that quality. There is no quality, there is no good quality which Lord Rama lacks. He has all good qualities. That's called, he says, Sarva Gunopetaha. So with these qualities, he's attracting everyone. then what about Kausalya? The Kausalya, the mother of Lord Rama, she's always looking at Lord Rama's face, beautiful face, and she's enjoying every day. So it says, Kausalyan Andavardhanaha. He is the main cause of Kausalya's Ananda. So that's why he says Kaushalyan Andavardhanaha, and he goes on speaking, Samudraiva Gambirya Dhairyena Himavaniva Vishnuna Sadrusho Viryo Somavat Priyadarshanaha कालाग्नि सदृश क्रोधे क्षमया पृथिवी समः धन धने समस्त्यागे सत्य धर्म इवा परे. So with this he stops the qualities. He says in the gravity means Samudraiva Gambirya, in his Gambirya, in his gravity or in his graveness, he is like an ocean. Dhairyena Himavaniva, in Dhairya, in his courage, he is like a Himavan. Nothing can move him. And then it goes on saying, Vishnuna Sadrusha is equal to Vishnu. Now he says he is equal to Vishnu because there is no one with all these good qualities. Only Vishnu, has all these qualities. And when Shukadeva Goswami is explaining about Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, there is no one equal or no one above Lord Rama or Krishna. So it's called Vishnuna Sadrusha Viryo Somavat Priyadarshanaha. And at the same time, he is like a Somavat like a moon, Priyadarshana. To view him, he is like a moon. He is very pleasing to see. And Kalagni Sadrishaha. And at the same time, when he gets anger, it's like a Kalagni. It's like a devouring, huge fire. It's like a volcano eruption. When you read all this Aranyakanda, when Sita was stolen away by Ravana, in that place you should see how beautiful is Lord Rama's Krodha. He says, I'm going to burn down all the mountains, rivers, I'm going to make dry of all the oceans, I'm going to break the sky, and I'm going to shake the earth, I'm going to just burn everyone in this world. When he speaks like this, even Lakshmana gets angry and Lakshmana gets fearful. He doesn't know how to deal with this Rama. Now Rama is showing his anger. So that is also beautiful. That is also very beautiful. Kala Agni Shadasha Krodaha Kshamai Prithivi Samam. In tolerance, in giving Kshama, in giving excuse, in giving forgiveness, he is equal to earth. Dhanadane Samastyage. In giving charity, he is like Kubera. Like Kubera is very well known for his giving charity. Not only saving, but in giving also. He is like a Kubera. And in Dharma Ivapare. Satya Dharma Ivapare. In following Satya is like a Dharma himself, or the demigod Dharma himself. So how can you explain? He has all these good qualities. So here explicitly now we understand that Lord Rama is supreme truth, which is mentioned in the Vedas. And Vedas, when they are explaining all these good qualities, it refers only to Lord Rama or Lord Vishnu himself. So with this, Narada, he stops here and then he says, I can go on explaining, but now you contemplate about all the qualities of Lord Rama, and now you start writing about that great person. So after explaining all these qualities, now he goes on speaking. So with this shloka, whatever we have mentioned, he covers Balakanda. Starting from Ikshvaku Vamsha, means he has taken birth in Ikshvaku Vamsha. He speaks about his birth. And Shriman, speaking about he is a very great archer. He is speaking about the Vishwamitra Yajna Samrakshana. And when he is speaking about Shriman, he has married Sita. And at last, when he is speaking about all his qualities, that is Sita Kalyana, with his Sita Kalyana, he finishes all the qualities here of Balakanda. And starting from 19th shloka, which is the first chapter, from 19th shloka to 38th shloka, he is speaking about the Ayodhya Kanda. Means, I told you, I already mentioned you that in this first chapter, in 97 shlokas, he is covering full Ramayana. That is Narada, he is explaining to Valmiki Ramayana in a very summary format, and with this summary, Lord means Valmiki is going to elaborate on the subject matter. So from 19 shloka to 38, he is speaking about Ayodhya Leela, and from 39 to 55 shloka, he is speaking about Aranya Leela, and from 56 to 68, he is speaking about Kishkinda Leelas, and from 69 to 78, he is speaking about Sundarakanda Leela, and from 79 to 88, he is speaking about Yuddhakanda, and from 89 to 94, he is speaking about Uttarakanda, and from 95 to 97, he is speaking about the Palashruti. Palashruti means when you read this Ramayana, what are the benefits that you are going to get from reading this Ramayana? We'll just go through this. Idam pavitram papagyam punyam bhedascha sammitam yap patet ramacharitam sarva papa pramuchyate. Idam pavitram papagnim. It is very pure and it destroys all your sin. Punyam vedaischa samanvitam. Vedaischa samanvitam means it is equal to Veda. Yap patet, one who reads this Ramacharitam sarva papa pramuchyate. He is cleared from all his sinful activities. Edat akyanam ayushman patayan ramayandaraha saputra pautra sangha pratyega swargamahiyate. Etat akyanam ayushyam, it increases your ayush, means your longevity. And patayan ramayanam naraha, one who studies this Ramayana, putra pautra sangha, he gets very good progeny, and also Pratyaya Swarga Mahiyati, he enjoys even Swarga Loka. Then it goes on saying, Patayan Vijo Vat Krishabtvam Iyat Syat Kshatriyo Bhumi Paditvam Iyat Vanik Jana Punya Palatvam Iyat Janascha Sutropi Mahatvam Iyat. The Veda means the Brahmanas, one who studies, he attains Rishitva. The Kshatriya, one who studies, he attains Bhumi Patitvatva, and Bhumi means he becomes a great king, and Vanika, when they read, they get all kinds of what do you say? They get all kind of profit in their Vanika, and Janascha Shudro api Mahatvam, the Shudras, they become Mahatmas. Again, even in Bhagavata we have seen, when you are reading Bhagavata, it gives different results. And when Shudra is reading, he becomes pure devotee. That we have seen in Bhagavata also. And also similarly here it says, when Shudras, when they study, they become Mahatvam. They become great people. So with this, first chapter is completed. So now Acharyas are explaining, Ramayana starts with the Tapaswadhyaya Niratam, and it ends with Janascha Shudropi Mahatvam Iyat. It ends with Yat. Ta Yad. What does it mean? Then we understand Ramayana is an explanation of Gayatri mantra, Brahma Gayatri. We know Tat Savidur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Tat Savitur Varenyam. It starts with Ta and it ends with Yat. Prachodayat, it ends with Yat. So with this one chapter, he is explaining, or if you chant this one chapter, it is equal to chanting Brahma Gayatri. Brahma Gayatri cannot be chanted by everyone and should not be chanted by everyone. It has particular adhikara to chant, but one who is chanting this Ramayana first chapter, then he is getting the benefit of chanting that Brahma Gayatri. So with this we finish the first chapter, and in second chapter, now what happens? Narada, after explaining Ramayana in a very summary format, he goes to his Brahmaloka, and then after hearing this summary from Narada, Valmiki now starts contemplating about this thing, whatever he has heard, and he is contemplating all the time. He is contemplating about Lord Rama's qualities, and his whole mind and intelligence become Rammaya. He cannot think about anything else except Lord Rama. Now he goes to Tamasadhira. So he goes to Tamasadhira, and in the Tamasadhira, now he starts taking his bath. And with him, Bharatwaja, his Shishya Bharatwaja, he also goes with him. And after speaking with Bharadwaja, he is explaining. Now Valmiki Rishi has got different kinds of heart. Previously he was a sage, and now his heart is changed. His heart has become like a kavi. Now he has got a proper heart to describe about Ramayana. So now what he does, now he is showing to Bharadwaja, oh Bharadwaja, see this world, see this forest, see this mountain, see this river, how beautiful they are. You know how pleasant this season is. Previously also he has seen all these things but never described like this. Now he has Kavi Hridaya. So with this Kavi Hridaya, he starts seeing everything and everything looks very beautiful to him. So with this, now he is looking at different things, and then what happens? Suddenly, in the Tamasa river, he sees a beautiful tree. On the tree, there were two birds, Krauncha. They call Krauncha Pakshi. Krauncha Pakshi means very small, like a sparrow, and they walk very differently, means not straight. They walk very crookedly. So that's why they call Krauncha Pakshi. So the two Krauncha Pakshis were sitting on the branches of a tree, and he saw a hunter. The Krauncha, they were in Miduna. Miduna means they were in loving exchange, and he saw a hunter, low class hunter, and what he does, he just pulls an arrow and shoots the male bird, and the male bird immediately hit the male bird's head get cut off, and then blood starts to flow and it just falls from the tree. And the female bird, it just gets into shock and then comes down and goes around shaking its wings and start to lament and start to cry in a very deena voice, in a very humble voice. So after seeing this scene, now his heart becomes so much sorrow and at the same time very angry also. After seeing this scene, now what he does, he is a rishi, he is a muni. He doesn't have to have all this merciful attitude, because every day there are thousands and thousands of Janana and Marana is happening, and he has seen, he has known all this truth. But still, after seeing this bird got shot, his heart got changed, and now he saw the hunter and he starts cursing the hunter. He says, this is the beginning of Ramayana. So what he says, Ma nishada pratishtam tvam agamaha shashwati samaha yat krauncha midunatekam avadi kamamohitam. He says, Ma nishada, oh nishada, no, don't do this. Pradishtahavam tvam agamaha shashwati samaha. You have done such a sinful activity. For this sinful activity, you will live in hell for unlimited years. Why? What sin I have done? Yet krauncha midunam, when the krauncha pakshi, when they were in midunam ekam, in the miduna bhava, when they were ekam, when they were united, avadi kama mohitam, during that time when they were full of lusty desires, when they were enjoying with each other, that time you have pierced them, that time you have killed them. Okay, killing is your dharma. As a hunter, it's your dharma, you can say that. But in this situation, you have killed them. It is not proper. Even in Mahabharata, when Pandu was hunting, he hunts a deer. When two deers, when they were copulating each other, and during that time, Pandu, he throws an arrow on the male deer, and they were actually rishis. Rishis, they have taken a different form and they were enjoying, and without knowing, he just hits that deer. And during that time, the rishi says, okay, as a king, you are coming for hunting, it's your dharma, but not this time. Not when we are in union, you cannot hurt this union. This is the highest sin. So even in Dhruva Maharaj Charitra, we have seen when Suniti is speaking, she says, I am such a sinful person in my last life. I have broken a very good couple. That's why now I am without my husband, or I am away from my husband. So it is very big sin to separate the couples. So so here he says that you have done such a sinful activity, and because of the sinful activity, you will just suffer in the hell for longer and longer time. So with this curse, he comes back, and while coming back, he is just thinking, he's just thinking two things. Why in the first place, why I got this anger? It is not befitting for me. Why I should get angry? And in the second, in the second idea, how it came like a shloka. When you are angry, you just chastise. You don't sing songs. When you are angry, you just chastise a person. No, you are idiot, stupid fellow, useless fellow, rascal, buffalo, something like that. You don't sing a song. But here, when Valmiki was cursing him, it just came like a proper metered, proper chandas with proper words, like a very chosen words. He was wondering how it happened. With this wondering in his mind, he reaches his ashrama, and to his again wonderful thought that Brahma appeared there. Lord Brahma is very difficult to have darshan. Even demons, they were doing tapasya for many years to have Lord Brahma's darshana, and that Brahma has appeared in the Valmiki ashrama for some reason. And Valmiki comes, he worships Brahma, and he sits down, but still he is thinking about that, how it happened, how I have cursed that person, and how shloka came out from my mouth. Never came out a shloka. Until then, means before that we had only Vedas, and after Vedas, no one was there to compose a shloka or think like this. And he is wondering how it happened for me. So Brahma now he's pacifying. Oh Valmiki, don't think too much. It is my allowance only. It is my mercy only, or it is my permission only. Because without the permission of husband, wife will not come. So it is my Ashirvada to you that I have sent my wife to you. That is Saraswati. When Saraswati comes, he can compose such a shloka. So with my permission, my wife came. Means before that, my son came actually, Narada. When he came and he spoke to you, he gave a seed of Ramayana, and my wife came to give you ability to write this Ramayana, and I am here now to give you Ashirvada, to give you blessings so that you can go on writing this Ramayana. So Brahma, he appears and he says, you please start to write this charitra of Lord Rama. Machandat eva Brahman pravrityam Saraswati Ramasya charitam krishnam kurutvam rishishattamaha. It is my arrangement only that my wife Saraswati has appeared in your tongue. Why? Just for one reason. What is it? Ramasya charitam krishnam, to write the charitra of Rama. Kurutvam rishishattama dharmatmano gunavato loke Ramasya dhimataha kritam katasya dhirasya yata te narada chrutam. As you have heard from Lord Narada Bhagavan, now you start contemplating and you start speaking about Lord Rama, how he is dharmavan gunavan. He has both dharma and guna, like we have already explained. He is following his dharma and he is showing all kinds of guna. So you please explain about that supreme truth, Lord Rama. And when you are explaining this Ramayana, when you are writing this Ramayana, not even a single word will be useless. Whatever you write, they all have some meaning, and they will follow proper prose, proper chandas, and whatever you speak, it will be related to drama, and it is truth, and you will get a blessing. That it is not that or you are going to write about Rama, which the things which happened publicly, and the things which happened privately, and the things which happen in the heart, everything. Because when you are explaining Rama, Ramayana, some things happened, publicly. Some things we can know, but Rama came and he broke the bow and he married Sita. So all these things are happen publicly, and some things happen very privately between Lord Rama and Sita. Nobody knows. Nobody else knows. So even those private things you will come to know, and some things happens in the heart, means like Dasharatha, he is thinking something in his heart, and whatever he has thought in his heart, you will know even that secret also. So you will know everything about Lord Rama and in and around Lord Rama, and whomever is around Rama, you know everything about them also. And whatever you explain, that is the truth. It has no any lies, it has no any false arguments or false statements. Whatever you speak, it will be the proper thing to do. And he says this Ramayana yavat stavayati giraha sharitasta mahatale tavat Ramayana kataha lokesu parishariyati. Until we have mountains and rivers in this world, this Ramayana will go on. That means what? Until we are speaking or discussing about Ramayana, then this mountain and these rivers will exist. If there is no Ramayana Katha, then it becomes useless. So with this, Brahma, he explains and then he leaves. So why Valmiki has mentioned this in the beginning itself? Just to show that this Ramayana is not my endeavor, it's not my ability, it is the ability given by Lord himself. He has chosen me. It's not my ability. Lord chose me to do this great work. I'm just an instrument. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin, like Krishna, he says, just become an instrument, I will take care of you. I will use you in a proper way. In the similar way, here, Valmiki Rishi becomes an instrument because Devatas, they want to hear Ramayana. Lord Rama himself want to produce this Ramayana. So, to make this Ramayana, they were blessed. The Valmiki was blessed and empowered to do this service. So that's why Valmiki Rishi, in the beginning of Ramayana itself, he is clearly mentioning it that it is not my ability, it is Lord's will that I'm writing this Ramayana. So when Ramayana is written by Lord's grace, then why this kind of shloka has to come? So Brahmadeva again he explains, just think about the shloka. Shloka has different meaning, so that we will understand now. With this we will, I think, finish this because we don't have much time, or if you are all okay, then we will go till 6:30 like we have discussed last week. So this is the Mangala shloka or Mangala Charana for the Ramayana. Like we have already mentioned that Mangala Charana will come at the end or in the second chapter. It says Manishada Pradishtam Tvam Agamaha Shashwati Samaha Yat Krauncha Midunadekam Avadi Kama Mohitam. It says Ma Nishada, no, Nishada, no, or don't do this, or it says you will never. This is the meaning. And Pradishtam Agamaha, Agamaha Pradishtam, you have to connect this word in the end of this Pradishtam. So instead of taking this meaning, we can take a direct meaning. It says Ma Nishada. If you just combine this word, it is Ma Nishada. What is Ma? Ma means Lakshmi, and Nishada means one who resides or where she resides. That is Lord's heart. So Ma Nishada means Shri Nivasa. And the rest of the line is very clear. Ma Nishada Pradishtam Tvam Agamaha Sashwati Samaha. That means, oh Srinivasa, let your pratishtha means your fame, let your fame live forever. Agamaha, without any limitation, let your fame live forever. It's like Mangala Shasana. It's like, you are giving Ashirvada to the Lord himself. Why? What I have done? Yat krauncha midunam ekam avati kama mohitam. What you have done? You have killed a krauncha pakshi. That krauncha pakshi is full of lusty desire. So because you have killed that krauncha pakshi who is full of lusty desire, let your glory stay always, eternally. And what is that? Ravana. So Ravana is a krauncha. He is a personification of lust, and Rama is a personification of bliss. Ramayati iti Ramaha. When you are blissful, then you can make others bliss. When you are lusty, then you make others cry. That is Ravayati iti Ravanaha, one who makes others to cry. So that's why Lord Rama shelter has to be taken off by everyone. So this shloka, it is glorifying actually Lord Rama. Manishada pradishtagamaha tvam shashwati samaha. Let your glory be eternal always. Why? Because you have killed this person called Ravana. So here we can have different meaning also. Krauncha, Pakshi means two birds. So it can mean Atma and the mind which is full of contamination. So this mind which has full of contamination, it has bound this Atma because of lusty desires in this world. So Lord Rama comes and he kills this lusty desire and saves this soul. So that's why let your glory be eternal. Like when Shiva is glorifying to Prachedas about Rudra Gita, about Lord in Rudra Gita, the first word itself, Jayatva, it starts with Jaya. Let you be glorious. Why glorious? We know what was the discussion there. The one who is attending this Bhagavatam, he knows. The same thing is expressed here also. That you have killed our lusty desire and you have conquered the soul. That's why you have Jaya. That's why we do Jaya Gosha to Lord. You have conquered me. So that's a Jaya Gosha of Lord. And it has more, other meaning also. Okay, we will go to that meaning. It is very important in regarding to this Ramayana. The first word itself, Srinivasa. Why Srinivasa? Srinivasa means one who is always with the Shri or with Lakshmi. So this is like Ashirvachana or Ashirvada to Lord Rama or not to Lord, that you always be with Lakshmi. So what kind of Srinivasa? Agala illen irayum endru alarmel mangai urayum marba. The Alvars they pray. Agala illen irayum endru. Lakshmi says, I will never leave you. Agala illen irayum endru alarmel mangai urayum marba. Okay, you don't have to leave me. Like in most of the Vishnu temples, you see Lord Narayana in one place and Lakshmi has a different house. But in Tirupati, the Lakshmi doesn't want to leave Lord Narayana. She wants to stay near Narayana. Then he says, why? What you are going to do? You are going to sit on my head or what? No, I don't want separate place. Why? Because I don't know, some Ravana can come and snatch me away. So I don't want to leave you. I want to stay always nearby. Okay, stay nearby. No, I don't want to stay nearby also. If I stay away, I cannot believe others. If I stay nearby, I cannot believe you. Why? Because if I stay nearby, when some Gajendra, when some elephant is calling, you run away, leaving me. And then I have to search for you. Where are you? So in this way, I don't want to leave you anytime. So what you are going to do? I will stay in your heart. Agala illen irayum endru alarmel mangai urayum marba. Lakshmi always stays in the heart of Lord Narayana. So that's why Lakshmi is never without Narayana and Narayana is never bereft of Lakshmi. So with this first word itself, he is making very clear that Sita and Rama are never separated, cannot be separated and will not be separated. So this we should understand. Sita bidam shriyam urasi abhimanatvam. This is what Shukadeva Goswami also says in his Bhagavata, that even when Ravana was kidnapping, even when Rama banished Sita in Uttarakanda, or even in Balakanda when Rama was not married, even in that time also Sita was always with Lord Rama. This we should understand. For Prakatana, means for drama, it seems like they are separated, but actually they are Abhinna Vigraham. They cannot be separated. So this we should understand. Some people will ask, why Rama banished Sita? This is the answer. It is just a drama to educate people, to show the high standard of equality of Lord Rama. Just understand the Rama's equality. Just for one person, he can sacrifice his own wife. Then what he cannot do for his people, to protect his people. So that shows his glory, that shows his greatness, that shows his Ramarajya. Ramarajya means he's equal to everyone, and for him the prajas are the god. When prajas are not satisfied, he is not satisfied. He has to become equal to everyone, and nobody can criticize Lord Rama. So in that way he is showing his character also. So that's why Sita cannot be separated. To show this quality, the first word itself comes as Srinivasa or Manishada. And these words are again spoken by Lord Rama himself. Ananyahi maya Sita bhaskarena prabhayata. Lord Rama also says in the Ramayana, he says, Ananyahi maya Sita. Sita cannot be separated from me. Like Bhaskarena Prabhayata. Like you cannot separate rays from the sun. Similarly, Sita cannot be separated from me. Ananyena hi Raghavena Bhaskarena Prabhayata. Sita also says the same kind of thing. Ananyena hi Raghavena. I can never be separated from my Lord Rama. To Ravana, she says all this thing. So separation is for story only. So it is not for it is not actually happening. So with this we can understand that there is no separation, and this separation, it is just a vidambhanartham. It is just a charitra vidambhanartham, just for the purpose of making it more interesting. All these things are happening. So the first shloka itself shows that the Rama's tattva. Why he has kept this? Why Valmiki has done this? Because when he was writing Ramayana, Sita was there personally, and he used to see Sita's face. Like a father sees his own daughter who came from his husband's house, means having some fight, and then wife and the daughter comes back to the parents' house, and the parent, they look at the daughter's face and they feel so much unhappiness. Oh, my daughter, she's living like this. What can I do? In the similar way, whenever Valmiki, he used to see Sita's face, he feels so much unhappy, and he feels like his heart is melting, his heart is crying. But by reading this shloka, he understands, okay, in tattva, they cannot be separated. Just for vidambhanartham, just for leela vidambhanartham, just for leela, they are separated. So with this understanding, it becomes pacified. That's why if you see in Ramayana, it is so heart-touching story. Even though it has all kinds of rasa, the main rasa of Ramayana is separation of Lord Rama and Sita. It is very heart-touching story. It is very very sad story also, we can say. So when Valmiki was writing, he could see the Sita's separation from Lord Rama, and he was writing this. So whenever he thinks of this shloka, he thinks, okay, in tattva they are united and they are not separated. So with this understanding, we have to now enter inside Rama. So Rama is not at all separated from Sita, and it cannot happen. It is for Leela Vidambhanartham, and you can never ask question to the director, why you directed like this. Don't ask question. Just see the movie and enjoy, and if possible, get some teachings from that movie. In a similar way, Lord Rama has designed his Leela like that, and it is his view. It is his choice. He has independent. He is Swarat. He can do anything. And he is doing this to show some dharma, and we have to just accept the dharma. Don't see the charitra of the person. So with this Asir Vachana, Ramayana starts. So this shloka is Asir Vachana. Asir Vachana means blessings to the Lord Rama himself. He is Kavi. He is not ordinary. He is a Rishi, Valmiki Rishi. He is not ordinary person. If he is an ordinary person, then he will ask for blessings from Lord. But he is such a kind of Rishi. Now he blesses Lord Rama out of his affection. Like Periyalvar also. Pallandu Pallandu Pallayirattandu Palakodi Noorayinam Mallanda Tenthol Manivanna Nin Sevadi Sebbit Thirukkaappu Adiyonodum Ninnodum Pirivindri Ayiram Pallandu Vadivai Un Valalmalbinil Valgintra Mangayum Pallandu Padaipporukku Mulangum Panchachanyamum Pallandu Vadiva Jodi Valarchodayum Sudar Aliyum Pallandu Padaipporukku Mulangum Panchachanyamum Pallandu. Like that, he goes on speaking. He says Pallandu means you live for hundreds and hundreds of years. He is glorifying. He is giving blessings to Lord himself. That is Periyalvar. Because out of love, when you are in a beginning stage, you ask something from Lord. Oh Lord, please help me, please save me from the situation. When you become a pure devotee, when you develop affection for Lord, when you become a proper devotional mood, then you start thinking about Lord, how I can serve Lord, how I can make Lord happy. So that will be your devotional mood. So in the similar way, here Valmiki is blessing the Rama, blessing the hero of this charitra. And he says, and he starts writing this Ramayana and just flows. Ramayana just flows. He doesn't have to struggle too much to write this Ramayana. And whatever he wrote just goes so smoothly and so beautifully. And it has equal beat, equal sweet, equal import of the Vedas also. It has very good beat. Good beat means it has very proper chandas, and it is very sweet also. The words, he has chosen proper words with I don't know how to say in Tamil, in English. And also it has many purport from the Vedas also. Tat upagata samasa sandhi yogam sama maduroppanadartha vakya bhaddam raghuvara charitam muni pranitam dashashirascha vadam nishamayadhvam. So that upagata samasa sandhi yogam, samasa, sandhi, yoga, and sama madura panatartha vakya bhaddam, vakya and bhadda, all are sweet, all are very nicely arranged. If you know Sanskrit, then you can enjoy reading the verses from Ramayana. It is very sweet to chant and it's not like, sorry for comparing, but in Bhagavatam, if you see, there are prose and there are poetries and there are different meters, and some words are very difficult to pronounce and some words are very difficult to understand. Some they call harsha prayoga. Some words doesn't fit to the grammatical rules. Sometimes it happens. That they call as harsha prayoga. Means when Panini was writing the grammar rule, first language came and then rule was written to understand that grammar, to learn that grammar. And they were writing the rules, and some words they don't follow any rules. Some words are very difficult to understand. They just exist like that. So when this kind of words, when they come, then the Panini says it is harsha prayoga. Harsha means rishi prayoga. Rishi means they don't have any rules. They just use as they like, as they wish. That's called harsha prayoga. So we find this kind of words in Bhagavata, harsha prayoga. But in Ramayana, all the words are very well formed. They have very good grammatical meaning. And also the samasa and sandhi, yoga, vakya, bhadda, everything is very perfectly situated. Raghuvara charitam muni pranitam, because it is done by Muni. Raghuvara charitam dashasherasascha vadam nishamayadvam. So he has beautifully composed this Ramayana, which speaks about the killing or destruction of that 10-headed Ravana. So with this we finish the second chapter, and now in third chapter, everyone is astonished after reading this Ramayana. When they saw this Ramayana, all the rishis, they were saying sadhu, sadhu, oh, very beautifully written. How a person can written such a beautiful composition, such a kavya, Vichitra padam, it has Vichitra pada, very astonishing meaning, very astonishing ornamental meanings. And Parivartate Vijnanam, not only very astonishing to read, but it increases our jnana also. Parivartate Vijnanam. So it has 24,000 verses approximately, but not exactly 24,000 verses. And it has 7 cantos, each totally around like 500 chapters. So this is how the Ramayana got evolved or written by Valmiki. So Valmiki, he has, when Valmiki was writing, Rama was already coronated as a king, and he is ruling the country. When he was ruling the country, Valmiki was writing Ramayana, Not only the Pattabhisheka or the Ramarajya, he wrote beyond that. That is Uttarakanda. What is going to happen in the future also, he knows. He has understood, and he was writing the Uttarakanda also. He finished Ramayana. Now, after finishing Ramayana, now his big question is, who is going to study this? Who is going to learn this? Who is going to preach about this Ramayana? It is very wonderfully done, and it is very beautiful also. Now we need to find such a student to understand this Ramayana and who can explain. So he is asking, Heta Prayujyat iti, who can do this? And then when he was thinking about this, he saw this Lavan Kusha. He saw this Lavan Kusha coming, and when he was finishing this Ramayana, already Sita was living with Valmiki in his ashrama, and she gave birth to Lavan Kusha, and they were grown up, and they were in the Gurukula of Valmiki himself, and they finished Veda and Vedanka. They have already done their preliminary studies, and now they are ready to go for their higher studies. So तत्तु गंधर्व तत्तज्ञो मूर्छना स्थान कोविधौ भ्रातृत्वो सर्वसंपन्न लक्ष्मण संपन्नौ मधुर स्वर भाषिणौ बिंबात इवोदितौ बिंबौ रामदेय ततपरौ. He says these are the quality of the Lavan Kusha is mentioned. Tata Gandharva Tatpajnau. They look like Gandharva, and they had full knowledge. Tatpajnau. They had very good knowledge. Murchanya Sthana Kovidau. And they know how to pronounce and where to increase the tone and where to speak what. Like one who knows music, they know. When you go for some marriage, you are supposed to speak, you're supposed to sing very pleasant ragas, not some, Murari raga, Muhari raga, just some sad raga. You cannot do that. So, at what place, what kind of tune we should sing, and at what place, what kind of upakada you should speak. Like a person is speaking about Dasharatha's death bed. Dasharatha is now on his deathbed, and he's going to die. During that situation, when everybody is tense, what is going to happen? During that time, you cannot speak upakata, means some other stories. If you speak other stories, then you will lose the intense of that story. So you should know how to speak also. At what point, at what situation, what you should speak. And also in the similar way, no need to do so many vicharas of so many useless things. Like when it is said, Lord Rama has taken birth from Kaushalya, and Bharata came out, and then Bharata Shatrugna, they were taken birth. Then immediately, now you cannot ask, okay, what happened when the Punyadana happened and when they entered the house, it is unnecessary details, unnecessary inquiring. So they know all these things, they know all these rules, they know how to speak, where to speak, when to speak, and how tone has to be used, where the tone has to be high, where the tone has to be low, and in what way the message has to be convinced. So they know all these rules and regulations. Bhratrau Sarva Sampannau, they had all good qualities. Gandharva Iva Rupino, they have the Rupa like a Gandharva. And then it says Rupa Lakshana Sampannau Madhura Swara Bhashinau. The Rupa is Lakshana Sampannau. No need to describe all the Rupas. Why? Because it says Bimbat Ivodito Bimbo Rama Dehat Tatapparau. It says when Lord Rama sees his own image in the mirror, and after seeing that image, when Lord Rama says, okay, come here. If that image comes to Lord Rama, how it will be? The same image we can refer to Lavan Kusha. There is no difference between Lord Rama's image and Lava Kusha's image. They just resemble exactly like Lord Rama's image. So no need to explain more, because we have already explained about Lord Rama's beauty. So in a similar way, that the Lava Kusha has shown these qualities. So to this Lavakusha, Valmiki was explaining all the Ramayana. So they were hearing Ramayana very carefully, and they learned. They become expert also in reciting Ramayana. How they were reciting? With veena in the hand, and they were singing actually Ramayana. Ramayana pravachana. They don't say Ramayana pravachana. They say Ramayana Gana pravachana. Means Ramayana has to be sung. It is not like shloka, what we are chanting, because we don't have that ability to chant the shlokas in a song format. So we are chanting like a shloka, but actually, if you see the Lavakusha, they were singing actually in a very Madhura Swara, they were singing this Ramayana. And after getting this Ramayana in the heart, they got blessed from Valmiki. Valmiki said, now go wherever you want, you go to all kinds of village, cities, ashramas, and then heavenly plan, wherever they call you, you please go there and chant this Ramakatha. And if our king Lord Rama calls, you please go there and chant this Ramakatha also, there also. So whatever you need, you will get everything when you are doing this Ramakatha, and just go on spreading this Ramakatha. So with these blessings, the Lavakusha were sent out from Valmiki ashrama, and Lavakusha came out of that ashrama, and they traveled to many places, and they started to sing this Ramayana very beautifully. And at last it reached Lord Rama also, and Lord Rama personally heard this Ramayana. That is the glory of this Ramayana. Lord personally heard, and he has blessed whomever is hearing this Ramayana, they will get this kind of blessing. So what is that blessing, and what Lord Rama heard? If I say this, then somebody may ask question, if Lord Rama is hearing Ramayana, what kind of person he is? Because Ramayana is full of glorification of Lord Rama. So somebody is hearing his own glorification. So what kind of person he is? It is not befitting for a truly sage or truly pious person to hear his own glory. So if Lord Rama is hearing his own glory, how is it possible that he is called an Arya, or how he is called a civilized person? So to know this answer, we'll meet tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll know how this Lava and Kusha, they started chanting, and Lord Rama, why he heard this Ramayana, and after hearing this Ramayana, what happened to Lord Rama. And tomorrow we'll start with Balakanda, explaining about Ayodhya, and also Dasharatha's query for begetting child. So with this, I finish here, and thank you very much for staying fully for this lecture. And if you have any questions and comments, we don't have time now. If you have any questions or comments, you can just give me a message in WhatsApp. And tomorrow you can inform your friends and relatives if they're interested. Let them come and hear this Ramayana. So we are not just going stories, because I'm already saying you many times that we know stories, but we should know the tattva, because Ramayana may appear something on the outward, but inside there are different meanings. So with this, I stop here, and tomorrow we'll see. Okay. So Shri Valmiki Ramayana ki jai, Shri Valmiki Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.